This week in Come Follow Me, we've been learning about a pretty special group of people. One day, while Alma was out being a missionary, he came across a group of Lamanites and he began to preach to them. They were so touched by the gospel message that he shared that they wanted to be baptized. And not only that, but they decided they were going to take it a step even further. I have here a sword. This is actually a firework sword that my son Tatum wanted us to buy. I think you light it on the tip and it shoots out fire. Anyways, we're going to pretend it's just a normal sword. But this group of Lamanites decided that they were going to take all of their swords, all of their weapons, and they were going to dig a hole in the ground, a very, very deep hole, and they were going to bury their weapons because they decided after being baptized and changing their heart and following Jesus, they didn't want to ever again raise a sword or a weapon against another child of God. You know, that kind of reminded me of something that Jesus said during his ministry when he lived here on the earth. There was a group of people coming to take away Jesus. And when Jesus' friend Peter saw this, he got mad and he pulled out his sword and cut off the ear of a man who was the servant of the high priest. And Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword away. Those who live by the sword die by the sword." And then Jesus healed this man's ear. And as we think about Jesus' life and his ministry when he lived on the earth, he never carried around a sword. And had they had guns back then, I don't think he would have owned a gun either. But the message that he was trying to teach is a message of peace. Instead of living in fear and being angry at God's children, it's so much better to teach with love and trust in the Lord. Let me tell you what happened to this group of Lamanites. They decided that they no longer wanted to be called Lamanites. They changed their name to the Anti-Nephi-Lehis, meaning they wanted to start something new. So after they buried their weapons, they decided to make a covenant with God. A covenant is a promise. When we say, "Lord, I promise to do this because I believe that's what you want me to do, and I want to honor you." And then in return, the Lord promises to bless us. So they entered into this promise, this covenant with the Lord. And you know what happened? Their wicked brethren, the other Lamanites, who hadn't been baptized and weren't following Jesus, they still lived by the sword. They still enjoyed war and killing people. That actually made them happy. It's something they looked forward to. When they came down into this city of the Anti-Nephi-Lehis, who had buried their swords and buried their weapons in the ground, they thought, well, this is gonna be easy. And they just started killing everyone. Now the Anti-Nephi-Lehis were not afraid. They continued to kneel in prayer and thank the Lord and tell him how amazing he is and how much they love him. And because they weren't preaching a message of fear and anger and hatred, they were preaching a message of love and forgiveness. That ended up creating a miracle. Suddenly, the Lamanites thought about what it was they were doing. They started to feel bad that they were killing their brothers and sisters who weren't even trying to hurt them. They were showing love. Well, they started to feel bad about this, and suddenly they dropped their weapons. They dropped to their knees. They had a change of heart. Suddenly they wanted to hear about the gospel of Jesus Christ. They wanted to be baptized. They wanted to change. So because the Anti-Nephi-Lehis decided to preach the gospel through love and forgiveness instead of fear, anger, and hatred, they converted thousands of Lamanites to the gospel that day. That's a miracle. You know, there have been times in my life when there have been friends, people I know, or complete strangers who came to me angry about something with unkind words, hoping that I would say unkind words back and we would have some kind of a battle. But when I chose not to take up a sword and instead I just gave back love and forgiveness, just about every single time these people came back to me and said, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I treated you that way. I'm sorry I said those mean words to you, or I did what I did. Will you please forgive me? I'm gonna try harder to do better. And in those moments, I learned how powerful it is to be like the Anti-Nephi-Lehis and bearing those weapons of battle. And by choosing to do that, it made me and the other people so much happier than it would if we would have both raised our swords and battled it out. I love that story, and because it's all about making covenants, I thought we could sing a song today that talks all about that. It's called I Pledge Myself to Love the Right. It's such an easy song. Here's the words. I pledge myself to love the right, the good, the fair, the true, to keep my faith and honor bright in everything I do. I thought while we sing this song, we could put our hand on our heart as we sing these words out loud to the Lord, telling Him that right now we pledge to choose the right, to make good choices, and to keep our faith strong. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
I pledge myself to love the right, the good, the fair and true, to keep my faith and honor bright in everything I do.
Good job, you guys! Well, I thought we could also sing the last verse of I Am a Child of God, because in this verse, it talks about how when we keep God's commandments and when we keep our covenants, He blesses us. Here's the words. I am a child of God. Rich blessings are in store. If I but learn to do His will, I'll live with Him once more. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with Him someday. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. You guys. I just want to bear my testimony with you that I know as we keep the commandments, as we choose the right every day, and as we bury our weapons, we bury that anger, that hatred, and that fear, and we choose to love others because we love God, and that's a part of keeping our covenants. I know that as we do this, we will be blessed, and we will have peace and be happy. Thank you so much for singing with me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.